All right, it's my great pleasure to welcome Kristine Jimenez from DCG Middle School, and I will turn the microphone over to her.
Okay, if you'll go to your agenda and scroll down to my section, there's a link that says Session Resources. If you'll click that, that will take you to where we want to be. If you want to get back to the agenda from right here, that link will take you to it. And I want to show you this collaborative contributions. This is where you can contribute ideas. I know sometimes when something gets said, you can generate your own ideas. So if you open that up, it'll open up to a Google document. And I've already got a couple of things in there. But sometimes when somebody says something, you're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this, or I've used this, or this has been successful. And then we can kind of have a document that hopefully is beneficial to all of us and has all of our contributions on there. And I know with recording and microphone, if you have something that you want to contribute, Lynn has the microphone, and if you raise your hand, she'll come around to you and give you the microphone. So if there's something that you find beneficial, that kind of triggers your brain and you want to interact that way, go ahead and do that. I know we've been kind of quiet, small, quiet group. But that's really how I've designed this lesson. I want to show you what I do, but by all means, I know you do things, and there are things that you can contribute as well. All right, the first one I'm going to talk about is remind. And this was on the list that we just looked at, so I'm just going to go in depth on it. You can go to remind.com, or if you click on this, that'll take you directly to it. I'm just going to go ahead and log in so you can see what mine looks like. I love Remind, and my webpage kind of tells you the benefits and some of the drawbacks of using Remind. But Remind is a quick way to reach the families that you serve. And so what I can do is I can quickly send a message, and then it easily and quickly gets to the families. So students can sign up for Remind, parents can sign up for Remind. Sometimes I have parents that'll sign up on their text, and then they'll also sign up on their email. And what it does is when I send a message, it automatically goes to their phone, usually, and they can automatically see what's happening in class or what I want them to know. It can have attachments, it can have links, and then sometimes the reason they want their email is because they can print easier off email, and so the text will tell them, hey, go check your email if they don't check their email very often. And so you can set up accounts for whatever class you have. So I'm a world language culture teacher. I have a 6th grade class and a 7th grade class. I also send messages for my advisory, so you can kind of see that here. This is an example. My students this week had an assignment. It's kind of a brain-friendly assignment for them to learn vocabulary. And so I asked them to do drawings. I was able to attach an image of what the assignment should look like. I was able to give directions because we have students that when they get home they can't remember, or when they get to study hall they can't remember, or sometimes they really just need help remembering that the assignment is due. And so by letting parents know that, they have adults in their lives that help them. And so those are, this kind of tells you how it looks. Now, this one, after I created this, I had somebody join, and I don't truly know if Blonde Blur is really an adult contact that I have, but I'm guessing that they're not for 2 reasons. They signed up for my advisory, and they signed up for my 6th grade class. Well, I have a 7th grade advisory. So I want to use this as an example to show you how you can control them. If I click Blonde Blur, because that's not a name I recognize, I can text them, and I said, hello, you are being removed from Mrs. Jimenez's advisory class. All right, so they've had some forewarning. And then I have the ability to be able to delete contacts. And so I can click this, click Blonde Blur, remove from class. Okay, I can also send messages, and I can click remove. So I have some control over things. Sometimes I can even change kids' names. One of the drawbacks is I had a student who had a phone that was a used phone, so whoever had that phone number prior to them must have signed up for Remind. And so when it logged them in, it automatically logged them in with someone else's name. And so doing the same kind of toggle button, I can control, it'll say, is this the person's real name? And I can change their name right there on their screen to help them. So I'm going to jump back to this screen and just say some of the things that I really like about this. Okay, so you can easily create a class. It takes seconds to create and set up a class. You name it, and you create a class code. Last year, my class code was something 2015. Well, then when I had third quarter and fourth quarter kids, they're like, but that's last year's code. So this year, I just decided to do a simple code so then I don't have to change it all the time. But it's super simple to have multiple classes. It doesn't take a lot for me. I can easily reach many people with just creating a message and hitting send. And so the parents get it quickly, they get it right to where they're at. People travel all the time with their phones, including students, so we have kids that bus. We have a combined district, so my kids can study whatever they need to study right then and there. If they're going to sports practice, I mean, I just really can't sell this enough. You can sign up for as many phone numbers as you want or email addresses as you want. It can be sent out at a scheduled time. So if I have a certain, usually Thursday or Friday, I get prepared for the next week. And so if I have multiple things, I can prepare every message, set the date that I want it to send, set the time I want it to send, and I'm done. I don't have to continually keep going back in when I want it. So that, for me, that's really nice. I like that you can embed messages. So I'm going to go to a different page. This is just one link of my website. But on my home page, I can scroll down, and here are my Remind messages. I have my 7th grade Remind messages, my 6th grade Remind messages. So even my students that don't have access to texting can still get the information. So if they want this, they can click this link and maybe print it to study or have access to it. I also have them embedded individually on my 6th grade page for the 6th graders and individually for my 7th graders. So I like that it can embed, and I use that. If you have a Twitter account, you can also tweet your messages. You can have private chat with parents. I don't use that a whole lot, but especially with my advisory, parents can contact you, you can contact them. With just a few clicks, you can send them an invite. So this is kind of what an invite looks like, and I just print this for the students, and the students can take it home. You could also email out a link. I know our Infinite Campus, you can reach all parents with messages. So if you really want to make sure you can get it home, you could even just use that link and send it out that way. But I like to have this out at open house nights so I can talk to parents and give that to them. So it's super easy. You just text 81010 and then text the code that you have for the class, and it's easy to join. How many of you have heard of Remind or maybe have used Remind? Okay, so yeah, there's lots of you. So maybe we shouldn't belabor too much time on this. I do like you can block the users. You can have more than one owner, so if you co-teach, I think that's a benefit. Some of the negatives is like this is our year 2, so there's glitches. If they were signed up for it last year, I deleted them as a user. They had a hard time getting back in. So we had to send that code more than once, and eventually then it just kind of showed up. But I don't really know exactly why. And I do know that they changed it. They say if you're having a hard time, you can dial this phone number instead of the 81010, and that seemed to solve it. Students can easily lie about their age. It does have a protection where if students are there, you can't private chat them, or you can control whether they're age 13, whether you're going to open up private chat. You also can have control whether people who are signed up as your contacts want to message each other. For me, I'm really wordy, so the biggest drawback is you're only allowed 300 characters. So sometimes I'll have to send 2 messages. Or you could make an attachment with your message to get around that too if you wanted to. All right. Next I'm going to talk about my website. I love my website. All my students, when they come into class, they get a stamp that looks like this. It's got my email address, it's got my website, so they always have access to them. I teach them how to Google me, how they can find me through the staff directory. But this is the website. I've kind of showed you a little bit about that. Parents and students really use this. So I'm just going to show you here. Every month, I happen to use Yola. I like Yola, and it's free. It's a host site. There's lots of host sites you can use. But when you look at this, every month it sends me a message about how many people actually use my site. So this is just insane, the number of visits that you get and seeing how many people go to your site and actually use your site and how much time is there. But it definitely proves that people are using it. And then other teachers use it. So this is kind of fun too. You can, I've gotten lots of emails from teachers around the world, and this is just a couple of them. So here, hi Senora, I came across your valuable websites page today and asking some questions. And then there was another Spanish teacher in Ohio who wrote and just said they're a really small school, they had questions, they wanted to use some of those resources. And it's a great way to share too, with people in your district or other people that you know and are aware of. So that's one way to use the website. It helps students with organization. If I give kids a vocab list, we don't have textbooks, we're not using textbooks, but if I give them a vocab list, my kids don't lose it. But if they do lose it, I'm not going to give them another copy. They can get access to it. They just print it off themselves. There are kids that will tell me that they've printed it off at home. They bookmark the site. It's just really useful to them. It also helps the parents. The parents have access to things. It helps them to make connections, things we've used in class. Now they can know where they can go get it. If they like it, they can use it. They can use it to study. I provide resources. Sometimes, too, if you are not great with your own files, it's a place to host all your things. It's a great way, too, to let other people know what you're doing in your classroom. It's a way to publish student work. Embedding is probably my most favorite thing to do. That's where you can put videos and different things like that. I like to change things like presentations into PDF files so students can use our notes and have our notes as study tips. And so if we look at this, and I scroll all the way down, the kids know exactly. We call it Fun Friday. Every Friday they have an assessment. It's either a quiz or a test. And so when they come here, let's see, this week is going to be Fun Friday quiz number 3. So if we click this, they're just going to find a PDF image of notes that we took on the board. And so they've got access to that at home if they don't have great notes. It just empowers them to take charge of their own learning. And sometimes I'll even do study tips. And usually the study tips are based off of what they've done in class. And so if I scroll down to on the 7th grade page, they can go here and they can easily see some presentations about things that we've done. So I really like my website, and if you haven't created a website, I think that there's enough benefits to doing it. And I think you're going to learn today in your next session some of the things you can do. Now, the biggest things that are hard about that is it's time-consuming, and you always need to update things. So I'm just going to quickly show you a little bit. If I want to update mine, I go to yolasite.com, and I can log in. Once I'm logged in, it shows every website I have, and I can pick the websites that I have. So if I go here, this is kind of what it looks like when you're in the creation mode. So this is my website. If I wanted to go and update things here, all of these boxes are things you drag in. So if I want to be columns, I drag in the columns. If I want to have a picture gallery, I drag that in. If I want just an image or a picture, I can drag that in. So any of these images that I have down here, that's how I got them there. If it's a text, you simply just draw that in. So there's all different kinds of widgets. Widgets are the terminology that you can put in there, the things that you want to create on your website. But it's fairly simple. This is what an embed looks like. So I got this video. The embed widget looks like this, HTML. If you've ever seen that, when you click it and you bring it in, it's going to pop up like this. And you copy and paste your embed code into that. And after you copy and paste your embed code into that, you'll have something like this pop up. When you're ready, then you save and you publish, and then you can go back to your normal site and test it out and see what you've got. But I think it's easy to be intimidated by having a website, but it's pretty elementary once you get started. But the drawback is it's addicting. You spend too much time on it. Anytime you create something new for your class, then you feel like you always need to be updating it so students have the current things. Just because I told you I really love to embed, you saw Kahoot today. As a foreign language teacher, I like to make things that my students will enjoy. And so I take my Kahoot, this is just one Kahoot for example, and if we go to play this, when my kids come in and they see the code, this is what my kids walk into. And this is just one example. So you can embed a video of any kind that you want. Maybe it's a review video. For me, I just wanted the song, a Spanish song. And if you're not familiar with Kevin Carla y La Banda, they have a ton of Spanish songs. But that's how I use embed video, even in just something as simple as Kahoot. So then you could be playing a review video while they're all getting logged in. And then when they're ready to play, they've got everything fresh in their mind. So embedding, that's another way that I use it. One thing I want to point out is when you have a website, sometimes it can lead to other technology. And so you can use Glogster, you can use Animoto, VoiceThread, could do whatever it is. If it's technology, you can post students' creation and students' work. It's kind of fun. All right, QR codes. This is kind of the one I was dreading because last night as I was getting ready for it, none of my codes work. Have any of you used QR codes in your classroom? Okay, this is what a QR code looks like. And I've got 3 examples of how I use it in class. This is a lesson that if I click this, I can just kind of show you how it works. But when they scan this code, what it will do is it'll take them to a video. They can watch the video, and then they can use the video to answer the worksheet. I've also got this set up. The reason this is not set up as a PDF is because if you click the QR code, like maybe your classroom doesn't have the technology, you can click it and it can also go directly to the video. So that's one way I use it. I'm gonna go to example 3. This is another way to use it. It's guided practice, and so I can link an MP3 message for the kids to check their work, but they click, this is supposed to be QR voice, and this is the one that was not working. If you go to qrvoice.com, you can record text or voice, and then when they scanned the QR code using a QR code reader, they'll hear something. And so then whatever they hear, they can answer it. So that's why it says, what did I hear? And then I'm asking them to translate that. So they're gonna have to turn what they heard into some kind of meaning. And then in order for them to check it, they would click the MP3 message, and it would reveal answers for them. So that's one way. The way that I usually use it, I teach both French and Spanish, and so I use it like a scavenger hunt. So we have a classroom objects and classes unit, and so I will put this math QR code outside their math classroom. So then they get a sheet of paper that says math. They have to go to the math classroom, find the math QR code, scan it. There is some kind of simple conjugated sentence there. They have to write down what they heard, and then they have to translate what that means. And so then they're going to all these different places in the building. So the problem was my QR voice are not working. None of these codes are working currently. And I thought, this is crazy. The thing that I like most about it is that it's voice. Kids can hear. We always want kids speaking and hearing. And so I came up with a new way. So you could still do all those same ideas, which this is the sheet that I use then. Once those QR codes are posted around the building, they get a document and a clipboard, and it says Le Math. So they have to go to the math classroom, they write down what they heard, and then they work on translating. So it tells them the 19 places in the building that they're gonna walk around to. So that is accompanied with the codes. So those ideas are still good. If you like those ideas, you can claim to those ideas. The problem is, and by the way, I do have instructions here. So if you want step-by-step instructions, when you click instructions, this will tell you how to make a QR code, all the different types of things you can link to a QR code, and then it tells you QR voice. Now, I've never had problems with the QR voice before, so for whatever reason, it's not working right now. But the directions are still there. So just because when you use technology, there always has to be a plan B, this is our plan B. This link will tell you different ways you can use QR codes. But plan B links you to something that I found just last night. Okay, these are other ways that you can create audio QR codes, since QR voice doesn't seem to be working right now. So I played with these a little bit. I don't know if you're familiar with Vocaroo. If you're familiar with Vocaroo, one of the things that it says you can do is go to Vocaroo, or you could make an MP3 message, and then you can download that into a QR code using this site that you see right here. You just take the link, put it in there, and it will create it. So let's do that really quick. So we can go to vocaroo.com, and you're welcome to do this. It's super simple. Vocaroo is a really nice way to do voice recording in your classroom. Whenever you're ready, all you do is click record. You do want to allow your microphone to work. Hola, me llamo Señora Jimenez. Stop, listen. Hola, me llamo Señora Jimenez. All right, now, if you want to save it, you click here to save. And it creates for you an embed code if you want to embed it. Or you can use that as just a normal link. We copy that. We go to that QR code maker. You download it here. It created for you a code. So if I go to use my iPad right now, and it's going to switch to the iPad so you can see what the QR reader does. So this is kind of, you get a camera with your QR code reader if you're not familiar with them. And you can go, oops, I just got them blanked. You can go to scan it. And after it's been scanned, you simply just put that in the square. It'll scan it. And it'll come up and kids can hear what you've recorded. So they can push play. Hola, me llamo Señora Jimenez. And you're able to do it that way. So you can screenshot your QR codes and use them with whatever kind of thing you want. Maybe you have centers, and so you want the QR code to give some kind of instructions, but you want your instructions in the target language. Now, the thing that I like better about that than QR voice is it's your actual voice. And you could record voice on the QR voice as well. So I'm going to come back to this. If you were to scan this code, it would say, hey, Plan B worked, woohoo. But one of the other things that article that I looked at last night told you about is something called Telugu Me, and I love it. It's so fun, and kids are going to love it. And so this is my Telugu Me, and you could play it right there from the embedded video, but the QR code right below it, is the QR code that will take students to the Telugu Me. Now, that's my classroom. That is my classroom. So I created my own computer image that you're seeing there in front of it. But when I scan the QR code, it'll take kids to a video, and you can create your own video, and they can play it.
Can sometimes be scary, but this time I actually learned something new. Woohoo!
So how fun is that? Your kids will love making them, and then you can embed them on the website. If you have a website or somewhere where you can host student projects. And so I just think QR codes are a fun, easy way to engage students. And I love the voice aspect of it, because if there's voice, then they've got an added element that is helpful in the foreign language. Has anybody used QR codes? I mean, are you willing to share how you use them so we can steal your ideas? You can also, I mean, I know you're scared to talk, right? This is on the internet forever. Use that document. Use that document.
It's really you only.
Oh, is it? Are you kidding? Look at me. Are you logged in? Share. I thought I said anyone with a link can view.
Yeah, you have to edit.
Oh,
You click on the down arrow.
thank you.
Christine,
Yes, ma'am.
this isn't my idea, so I'm stealing somebody else's idea from my school, but we have, every week we have somebody that shares some form of technology, and one of our teachers uses QR codes for restroom breaks, or if a kid has to go to the office, they have to scan it in, and then she tracks who goes, how many times, like how long they're gone. So, I mean, we're a smaller school, so, you know, sometimes we have those kids that have a tendency to wander.
Yeah.
And so that's what she uses instead of signing out and all that stuff.
I never would have thought of that. I'm glad you shared that. All right, this is what I want, right? Create away.
Also, QR codes and some of the websites only host it for like 2 weeks or 90 days. So, you have to look at ones that if you're going to use them every year, you want to look at for one. Oh, sorry. You want to look for a website that hosts it for more than longer periods of time.
Good idea. Yeah, and there might be glitches even with this Fungami. I don't know. Literally, I just did that last night. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm watching that post. Please post link to Kevin Carla in the video with lyrics. I just literally Google it. Kevin Carla y la banda. And it's a YouTube thing. So they have their whole YouTube channel right here. And if you go there in YouTube, they have all their different things. I used to do it where kids would come into class with a song, and I have little plastic microphones and headsets, and the kids try to sing karaoke to the songs. And I have in middle schoolers, so occasionally when there's no microphone, then students will grab glue sticks and different funny things like that. Do you have any questions about anything else that we've talked about so far today? You're so quiet. All right, I'll move on then. All right, WebQuest. Anybody use a WebQuest? Do you know what a WebQuest is? Okay, so this link will take you to my specific WebQuest. I teach a unit on immigration. And so this was created by myself and 2 other middle school teachers from our building. And every WebQuest is meant to have those tabs. You have a home tab, you have an introduction tab, task, process, evaluation, conclusion, and credits. So in order for it to be a WebQuest, you have those things. If I go back to my Heartland web post, this right here gives you an article that teaches you how to create a WebQuest and what a WebQuest is about and what you do on each tab. My WebQuest I did just a little bit different. But before I even show you about mine, I'll just tell you, you can search WebQuests. You can steal good WebQuests that are already created. And WebQuests are great because kids are using technology, they're using different elements of technology, and you control where they go. So kind of like that worksheet where I had a QR code, and I told kids what to do and took them where I wanted them and asked them what I wanted them, or kind of like an Ed puzzle where we had them watch what they wanted, and then we questioned them on what we wanted them to know. This is another avenue for that. So this is my homepage. It kind of tells you a little bit about it. My students end up watching a movie, a documentary in class called Train to Nowhere. For those of you that are Iowa-based, I think it's been a long time now, 2002 maybe, there was a train car found in Denison, Iowa with some immigrants that had tried to travel and cross the border and were found dead over in Denison, Iowa. So this is their story. If you are interested in that, there's a link here, and educators can get a copy of that document or that documentary for free. If you are interested, if you teach immigration and you think that you might be interested in that. But that's my homepage. When I click introduction, it tells the students what they're going to be doing. So it tells them, hey, through this WebQuest, you're going to learn about all different kinds of immigration and what the purpose is. So then they get their task, and it tells them what they're supposed to do. So through this WebQuest, you're going to become an expert in one area. Now, my WebQuest is a little different because with a middle school student, I think choice is important, but most WebQuests usually are designed to do one thing, and everybody's doing the same exact thing. But if I was doing this in my classroom, not technology-based, I would probably have them clustered in centers. And so I designed my WebQuest that way. So when we go to the Process tab, they've got some choices. So step number 1, you're going to fill out this survey. Step number 2, pick which center you want. And so every kid's going to be maybe picking what they're interested in. Are you interested in immigration as it relates to geography? Are you interested in the history of immigration? Are you interested in illegal immigration? Are you interested in legal immigration? And wild card is the kid that like, oh, I like history, I like legal, I like illegal. So they're going to get some choice and they're going to get to jump around. Not most WebQuests are not designed that way. That's how I chose to design mine. So if your kid doing geography, you're going to do step 3, 4, and 5 right here. And 3, 4, and 5 are unique to the center 1, geography. 6, 7, and 8 are all the same. Everybody's going to, it's kind of like jigsawing, right? So everybody gets really good at what they're doing, and then they're going to come back and they're going to present to the whole entire class. If they want to do history, they do this step 3, 4, and 5. So for this, history of immigration, students are going to go to this website. They're going to read the 5 Meet Young Immigrant stories. They're going to read through them, watch the video, and then they're going to be asked to do something, and then I want them to record their sources. So this record your sources takes them to EasyBib. This one takes them to the website where they're going to find the stories. So I can control where they're going. It's somewhat easy for the students to navigate. They just need to read and see what they're doing, and it takes them exactly where I want them to go. And so that's the nice thing. Kids can kind of work independently, and they know exactly what they're supposed to do, and you can provide a variety of different kinds of technology. Now, one of the things that they're asked to do for step 7 is to make a final project. So if you scroll all the way down, here's a whole bunch of final project ideas. You can make a poster, you can make a cartoon, you can make a comic, you can do a game, a skit, a debate, a talk show, a rap, PowerPoint, GarageBand, or other, because there's always some kid that's got some idea, right? And then it also has the rubric link, so they have access to the rubric and they know exactly what they're doing. This also happens to be the evaluation page. I also have my students evaluate themselves. So that's what this Google form is. They'll go to that Google form, they will fill out, all my kids have Spanish numbers, so that's what that's all about. And then they just kind of record themselves and tell me how they think that they did. Conclusion page, this just kind of tells them what they did. It also has extra enhancements. So a wildcard kid might be able to pick something from here. Or if they are still interested, they have other resources that they can go to. But through this WebQuest, I use lots of things. I use websites, I use atlases. I was able to use podcasts. Lots of different things that I could give them resources to, and it was all compiled in one thing. And again, I just used Yola, and then I could link this website to my website so students always knew how to get to it. But again, there's lots of WebQuests you can steal. All right. Lastly, we're going to talk about voice recording. I do have instructions on how to voice record. Excuse that change, I think because I had the O with the accent, it must have altered when I saved it. But these are the instructions that I give my students. And so I'm just going to walk you through step by step. We're a Google school, but I still like Word. There are some things I really still like about Word, and I think there's value in kids knowing how to create something and be able to upload it into Google. So not only am I teaching them different ways to record in Word, but I'm also teaching them how to upload things into Google. So if you need these instructions, they are here for you. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So I open up Word, and it doesn't matter if you open the speaker version or if you open the Word document. I think kids are used to going to the Word document, so I'll open that one. And then down here is another toggle to be able to switch to the notebook version. The notebook version looks fun, right? And if you look up here, there is a tab that says Audio Notes. If you click audio notes, now you're able to see your recording tools. If we were to record, I'll simply click record. You'll see standby change to recording. And whenever you are done recording, you can hit stop. Now, you don't see anything on that page. So the hard part is, wherever they had their cursor when you started recording, that's where a speaker is going to be. And you only see it when your mouth drags over it. So I encourage them to type something. In this case, they simply just type their name. That way I know where to find that speaker and don't have to move all over the document. I tell them that they can use this in lots of different ways. If they are taking notes in college or in high school and they're typing their notes, but they also want a recording of something, or there's something they're worried they're going to forget, they can add their voice recordings there. If you click this, then it'll just push play. Change to recording. And whenever you are done recording, you can hit. Right here, you can see the audio playback and can kind of control where you're at. There's different ways to export it. So if they wanted to create an MP3, that's an easy way to create an MP3, and then you can drop it into different things that you want. Vocaroo works really kind of similar too. That's just a Web 2.0 tool instead of being something like Word that you might have access to. So I mean, there's a ton of things you can record voice, but I think there's value in that one. There's also, I mean, we already talked about Vocaroo. Katura. Has anybody used Katura? I mean, Google's so prominent now. That's a Google extension. And so it's kind of a screen casting tool, but you can do just the audio portion of it. How about Pickle? Is anybody familiar with Pickle? Now, currently, Pickle is not available. So I mean, if you like it, you can't really get it now. If you have access, like if you have students that maybe has a Samsung phone, they do have something called Sound and Share. But I know that Pickle is working on coming up with it again. So I'm going to show you Pickle, just because it's something worth watching and checking periodically to see if it comes out. We use Pickle for our fashion shows in our class. Students just learned clothing. They learned present tense conjugation. I teach it in both Spanish and French, so it's very simple, very basic. They take a picture for every pronoun, and then they create a simple sentence. So for my I pronoun, I'd have a picture of me wearing something, and I'd say, I am wearing a sweater. You are wearing black boots. And then they learn colors as well. So it's spelled P-I-C-L-E, and this is what the app currently looks like now. A pickle is called a picture with a voice recording with it. So if I want a pickle, I click my camera, I take a picture, smile, and then when I'm ready, you can do two-step. I like two-step because kids need time to think about it, right? So usually we actually take our pictures on the camera roll, get all our pictures, make sure they're all prepared, make our script, and then later go back and do the sound recording so we can upload the pictures like you see them now, and then you click record. Hey, we're having fun here. You listen to it. They all have to agree on their pronunciation as a group. Hey, we're having fun here. If they don't like it, because they're all going to get the same grade, right? So iron sharpens iron. I'm going to say, hey, I really think the E is pronounced as the A. And so if we don't like it, we hit the red X. If we do like it, we click this and save it. After you get a whole bunch of pictures in here, you create a story. And so you go here, you create a new story, and then we add pickles, we put them here, and it turns it into a video that they can watch. Hey, we're having fun here. Now, the Samsung Galaxy, you're only able to record 9 seconds. Here, you're able to record for a full 10 seconds, and sometimes there are sentences that take longer than that, and so we use the same exact image and we finish the other half of the sentence onto this. So I like it because it's slow enough. I like that the kids have the control of the audio. But again, you could do similar things in VoiceThread. It's just this is so simple, it takes out some of those elements that are challenging for them. And again, you can take those and you can embed them. So you can show student work, and then they feel proud about that. There's an app called Voice Recorder. We also talked about Telugu Me today. I'm not sure if you've heard of Voki. Do you know Voki? Yeah, so let me show that. Some of you are saying, yeah, you know it. That's so fun. I do have a Voki on my first page. When I taught Spanish 1 to 8th graders, we created Vokis. We used our Vokis to play Guess Who. And so they each created their own Voki, and we embedded them all side by side and then used that as a version to play Guess Who.
Buenos días, clase. Me llamo Boki. Soy la avatar de señora Jiménez. Hoy ustedes van a aprender cómo hacer un Boki. A mí me gusta Bokis. Mi Boki tiene pelo castaño, ojos azules y lleva una blusa blanca y un suéter negro.
All right, so that's kind of what Vokis are. And it's got the link there if you're interested in making a Voki. And Thing link, that was also on that thing that I just learned last night that also tells you some other ways to create voice and create things if it's something you're interested in. It's not something I have a lot of experience with, just because I just learned about it last night. All right, anybody have anything for the good of the group? Questions, things you want to know more about? Of course not. Yeah.
So ThingLink, you can do lots of really cool things with. Oh, thanks. You can find a picture of something, and then you can put these little dots on it. And so when you scroll over the dot, you can have like a sentence pop up that says like, this is a lamp. So if you have a picture of like an apartment in Paris, and then it's just another way for students to get that comprehensible input. So it's really interesting. It's kind of clunky to get used to, but it's once you figure it out, it's super engaging. So I would explore ThingLink if you need something fun to explore. It's cool.
Yeah, and actually, I'll second that with ThingLink. When I taught chemistry, I actually did my lab safety rules by using a picture of a lab and then just different items around the lab, just with videos and safety rules and things like that.
I'll show an example.
All right. So we're in the same boat as the last presentation. I want you to be able to collaborate. I want you to be able to take things from that document that somebody has added, be able to work on something you find valuable, and then I'm just going to be hovering because I can learn things from you, and then maybe there's things that you can learn from me. If you wouldn't mind giving some feedback, that'd be nice. So we've got that down at the bottom there too. Okay, so the request was made to show you how to make a Telugu Me. So I'll pull up the iPad here. It's an app, so you need to search in your app store Telugu Me. And it's this blue icon down here with the cute little face bubble. If you click that, it does give you a very quick tutorial when you first open it. Very elementary. As a matter of fact, my 3rd grade daughter was watching me do it last night in my classroom. She said, Mom, can I have that? Is that free? And she made her own. She made like 4 before we left to go home. So I'm really jump into it kind of person. I don't really want to be told how to do it. I just want to figure it out. So I clicked create, and it still kind of told you the first time. So there's a create button once you get into Telugu Me. And there's 4 main icons that you're going to use. You're going to use this character button. You're going to use the emotion. You're going to use the background. And you're going to use the message that you see kind of in the center at the top. So I picked a character that looks similar to me. Now, there is a paid app for this, and so it unlocks things once you get the paid ones, but there are some simple, basic ones that are for free. So when I click my character, I can decide whether I want a male or a female. I can pick different color skin tones, different color eyes. Okay. I can make it look like big-headed, little-headed. You know, kids will have fun with that. I can choose different hairstyles. And you can see here, this is where some of the styles are locked. Oh. And then you can click clothing. So we've got one option, but we can pick different colors. Bottoms, one, but you get different colors. Shoes, same thing. So that's how you pick your character. You can pick which emotion you want them to have. So I picked kind of that scared look. You can make them be surprised, angry. Okay, yes, so those buttons, you can pick silly, neutral, happy, and you have different emotions. The background, this is where I used the camera button, the top camera button there to take a picture of my own class. But you could doodle background. You can do library. I wonder what road trip. Oh yeah, so you could do different backgrounds if you wanted to. So you could say, yeah, we're at Heartland TIC. Woohoo. Click that arrow. If I want to go back, the back button, this is where I can record my message. I can have a typed message or I can have an audio message. So you have text, record, voice. So if we record, hello, welcome to K-6 Foreign Language TIC at Heartland AEA. You can even pick different voices. Hello, welcome to K-6 Foreign Language TIC at Heartland AEA. So there, I think if it's which one did I see it in? This.
Hello, my name is David.
Hello, my name is Liam.
Hello, my name is
Hello,
Hiro.
my name is Emma.
So if you type something, type a message. Hello, welcome to K-6 Foreign Language TIC at Heartland AEA. Yeah, you might, because it's new enough for me, I'm not sure. Hello, well, maybe it's because it won't let you, maybe text is more part of your background. Type a message, I don't know. But either way, for foreign language, it's better for them to hear your voice than it is for somebody else's, was kind of my thought. If you want to share it, that's where you push the share button down in the corner. And they do opt for Facebook, Twitter, email, SMS, or text. So I think I clicked SMS text. And then that's where I stole my link. And the link is what I copied and pasted into the QR code. And also, when you click on the link, it offers more ways to share it, like with an embed code and other things like that. I'm not sure what just happened. Oh, yes, now you can see it here. So I took this code and went to that code, and then it offered the embed option and other ways to share it, more than the 4 that you see right there. Does that prompt any more questions? All right.